Good afternoon and welcome to this briefing by the Jerusalem Press Club. I am Matthias Akael and our guest today is Rotem Cooper. Rotem's father, Amiram, was among the oldest hostages taken to Gaza on October 7 and a founding member of Kibbutz Nir Oz, one of the communities that were worst hit in the October 7 massacre. According to the new forensic methods developed by the IDF since the Hamas invasion, Amiram was pronounced dead in June 2024. While the IDF cannot definitely say how or when Amiram was killed, it is assessed that he was murdered in Gaza while in captivity at some point in time between October 23 and May 24. Amiram was an economist, a composer, and a poet. Good afternoon, Rotem, and thank you for giving us your time on such short notice. We know you have a busy schedule.
Thank you. Let me introduce myself again. My name is Rotem Cooper. I'm the son of Amiram and Nurit Cooper. Both of them were kidnapped from their home. Actually, from this home that you see me, I'm currently actually in the very same home in Kibbutz Nir Oz, where both of my parents were kidnapped from. As you can see, this home is being renovated right now. My mother was 79 when they were kidnapped brutally from their home, and my father was he was 84. And I would like to correct something you said. We know based on testimony that he was well and alive all the way to the last day of the first hostage negotiation. That was 55 days in. I think it was like 29th of November or something like this, 23. That's based on women that were released and were held in the same area that he and others from Kibbutz Nir Oz were held. And we also know, based on intelligence briefing, that he survived all the way to mid-February 24. That's about 4 months. So he survived 4 months. He was held pretty much exclusively deep underground throughout all this time. And then in mid-February, he was murdered. And still we haven't got his remains.
Okay. Thank you for that. Can you tell us more about Amiram, your father, about his remarkable life and works?
He was born in Haifa, in Adar. Haifa, as you know, is a mixed city. There are predominantly Jewish and Arabs over there, but some other Christians as well, and Muslims. He dreamt from a young age about establishing a kibbutz. He joined the youth movement, the Shomer Tza'ir. And when he was 19, he came here with the other founder members. Some of them lost their lives, like Arya Zalmanovich. His funeral is going to be tomorrow. Or that Lifshitz's funeral was actually held around March of this year. He was among the founders that came and built Kibbutz Nir Oz. He was a peace-seeking person, believed in two-state solution. Wrote articles. He was a man of the written word. He was a poet. Most of the songs that has been sang in the kibbutz anniversaries are songs that he wrote. One of them got particularly famous, called Shibolei Paz. That was when the Kibbutz Nir Oz was 5 years old.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for sharing a part of your father's stories. Turning to the current situation, to the video that was published this week, when we all saw the recent footage released by the Qatari Al Arabi channel claiming to show a search for the body of your father in Gaza. What went through your mind? Do you believe them?
That was at first encouraging because from what we understand, they are kind of digging in the same area. It was held with 6 other hostages. All of them lost their lives. Those 6 are already were recovered in a military operation in the past. So our understanding that that's the right area. Of course, Hamas first published that they are digging over there. I think it was early Friday, maybe even before. They brought journalists. They mentioned his name, that specifically they're looking for him. So of course, at first, we saw it as a positive, but it's been, kind of almost a week since, and they have returned several hostages since. Even 3 from Kibbutz Nir Oz. We just been, today was the funeral of Tamir Adar. We had Eliyahu Churchill Margalit here a few days ago, and tomorrow is Arya Zalmanovich. We call them Zalman. So he's the last one now from Kibbutz Nir Oz. Kibbutz Nir Oz is the community that was impacted the most. About 1/3 of all the hostages, of the 250 plus hostages that were taken, 76 of them were from this community. This is a small kibbutz. It's about 400 people. So, and all of them are now back. We got lots of them were returned alive, but lots of them are also now buried and about to be buried in the coming days. And my father is the last one from Kibbutz Nir Oz that Hamas have not yet returned.
You mentioned before that you consider that to be the area in which probably the body of your father will be will be there. As regards to the recovery efforts, were you giving any information on who is specifically leading the efforts to locate and recover the bodies of the hostages killed in Gaza? I mean, we know Israel shared intel with the mediators, but who is actually on the ground?
Yeah, I'm going to go with what we're getting some updates, but they're not very informative. I think that Hamas is published quite a bit in the various channels. El Arabiya, and I think was one of them, about the work that is going in that particular site. We're expecting. Why is it taking so long? Whether Hamas is really doing everything they can. Probably not, but we understand that they are digging over there, and we expect, especially the U.S., to hold Hamas to the agreement. Based on our experience with Hamas, they're always trying to test the limits, and it's important to explain them the limit with pressure and to be swift.
That's my following question. Given that Hamas failed to release any bodies last night, shifting from delaying the timetable to directly breaching the agreement, what leverage does Israel have to pressure Hamas, if at all?
Israel itself has, primarily can control the Rafah crossing and the entry of humanitarian aid. But really, the main player is the U.S. And the U.S., which actually forced this agreement on both sides, really apparently has a lot of leverage on both sides and a lot of leverage over Hamas, because this agreement is really terrific. If you went 2 weeks ago and asked if the U.S. would be able to secure such an agreement where all of the living hostages would come out on the first day, and then we got 15 of the deceased hostages, the slain hostages. That's really, a terrific outcome. Saying that, there is an agreement, and the agreement says 70 hours to get all the hostages. This didn't happen. It's stretching. We're really worried. We want to make sure everybody is not moving their eyes from the ball. and that we continue to apply pressure to Hamas through, the U.S. can do it apparently very effectively through Qatar and Turkey mostly, and also through Egypt. So apparently they have the leverage, because Hamas accepted a deal that they were not willing to accept before. So apparently the U.S. has quite a bit ability to apply pressure to Hamas through the intermediaries.
Yeah, we must assume that's the key here, to pressure Hamas. And I would like to speak also for a moment about the Red Cross, which is reportedly working on both sides to facilitate the return of the remains of the Israeli hostages. How do you view their role in this process? Are you satisfied with the level of transparency?
We have not got anything from the Red Cross. I wouldn't necessarily judge them. I don't know about everything they're doing, but they, when we tried early on to provide medicines to the hostages, I was part of a group that actually sent medicines to the hostages. We used the Red Crescent. The Red Cross did not help us just to deliver them. We don't hear anything. The Red Cross, as far as from my visibility, were reduced to an Uber driver in this whole operation. They're important, but I wish they could have done more or actually acted more.
Okay. Thank you for that. And after two years, do you feel any closer to find? Do you feel any closer to finding a closure, or does this delay on all these games that are being played by Hamas make the loss even harder to process?
Well, we are in a much better situation than 2 weeks ago. We have to remember that. Getting back 20 living hostages, getting back 15, slain hostages. We have to put things in perspective. That's much, much better than expected. Saying that, we still have 13, and saying that there is always, we had some hostages like Adar Goldhin that been held for a decade plus. There's always a worry that if we do not put an end to it with Hamas, and right now the wind is in our back, and we should not let off our foot from the accelerator, and we should continue to forge. Hamas is in violation of the agreement. It's been now many days since they should have returned all hostages. It's, as I said, there might be few single number, from what I understand, that might have a legitimate, issue for, that it might be a bit harder to recover. But what we've seen, that Hamas only released 4 on the first day within the window of the 72 hours, and since then they kind of slow rolling it. So it's clear that Hamas is playing for time, and they could have done better. It's hard to really comment on each and every hostage. I don't have the information, but it's clear that Hamas is trying to play for time. Our job is to make sure to hold their feet to the fire, to make sure that they respect the agreement. Because there are a lot of other things coming in this agreement, and if they're not playing by this one, they're not going to play by all of the other ones. The U.S., President Trump has big plans to develop Gaza, to bring peace to the region, but a prerequisite is all the hostages first.
You mentioned before that you are located now in your parents' house in Nir Oz. What's the current situation there in Nir Oz? How can you describe? Are there efforts to rebuild the community taking place? How can you describe the situation there?
So it's encouraging this time. It's been more than 2 years, and I've been here many, many times, and for a very long time there was only burned houses here. And this is the first time that I'm coming and I see some construction going on. So you can see that even the home of my parents is kind of being lightly renovated, painted. The bullets that were shot, they patched the holes with plaster. Some of them you can still see. And then they really started construction. So there's really construction going on in the kibbutz, and people are starting to come back. I think there in Kibbutz Nir Oz within a few weeks, there are probably going to be more than 50 people that are going to be staying here. And in addition, they're going to be army forces that has been here since. So they're going to be probably a local population of maybe 80. And then it's just going to grow from there. There is a lot of plans about the redevelopment of Kibbutz Nir Oz, which is a symbol. Kibbutz Nir Oz is ground zero. We, it's 1 out of 4 here is murdered or kidnapped. We have 64 murdered. We have 76 that were originally kidnapped. It's touched each and every family. There are big plans, I've seen them, to make Kibbutz Nir Oz, and that's important. It's important for me. It's important in the memory of my father. I think that's what you would expect. And it's important for Israel. It's important for people that care about Israel around the world, our friends, to build Kibbutz Nir Oz, not to rebuild Kibbutz Nir Oz, but to make it bigger, to make it 1,000+ community members in a few years. That's the only thing, if I'm not thinking, okay, we had a tragedy here, a massacre. The only one positive that can come out of it, which will never, will never be a reconciliation, but I'm saying the only positive is that we're going to build Nir Oz bigger, stronger, more beautiful with more people. That would send the message to Hamas. That would send the message to everybody that don't like us around the world that this is not the way. We must build Nir Oz stronger and bigger.
Okay, thank you for that. And talking about the messages, I mean, I completely understand that your main message is to put the pressure on Hamas to release the remaining hostages. But what message would you like to send to the Israeli public, or if you have another message to the President Trump in this situation?
President Trump, I was asked this same question. I think I said it maybe in the beginning. I'm not sure. We met yesterday, the families with J.D. Vance, the vice president, and he asked us a similar question. And there was a pause in the room, and then I said, in Trump we trust. I know that's kind of people that know, the term that
in God we trust.
Politicians say always in God we trust. And that's kind of summarize what's going on. Really, we trust in Trump, in the Trump administration, and Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner, to do the right things, to be the adult in the room, to make sure that we put maximum pressure on Hamas, but we don't blow off and kind of go back to war. Of course, at the same time, we apply maximum pressure to the Israeli government. But really, there is no confusion why we're here, why we got 20 live hostages, why we received 15 slain hostages recently. It's President Trump. And, it's encouraging to see that he's sending, one after another, is making sure there is always someone from his administration. Now, J.D. Vance is going back, but we know that Rubio, Secretary of State, is coming, and before that we had Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner twice here, and President Trump himself. And I think that he want to make sure that there are not going to be any mishaps, and that his vision and he's very focused on the hostages. He's keep mentioning it. He cares about the hostages. He has bigger vision, which is good, but he's always saying the hostages first, and we want to always meet him and his administration, so this message doesn't change. They see the faces, they hear the stories.
Okay, and as the situation continued to evolve, and we honestly don't know what may happen tonight or tomorrow, what gives you hope today?
Well, welcome to our world in the last 2+ years, a world of uncertainty that is mostly beyond our control. We just trying to do what we can, right? We really we don't have the privilege of not doing, of caving in. So, we've been in this struggle, and yes, it's a new phase because there's so few that are still there, and they all slain hostages and not living hostages. So it's important that the public stay with us, that the media stay with us. It's been a long struggle. we feel like to some degree after 2 years we prevailed in some way, but it's not over until it's over. We still have hostages over there, and very important, crucial. And that's why we're kind of saying now, not just bring the hostages now, we're saying until, I guess we said until the last hostage, but it really maybe sounds better in English, leave no one behind. And that's really kind of the new banner, leave no one behind. That's really the new banner now of everything we're doing.
Okay, we have one question here from Jonathan. I know you have not a lot of time, but from Germany, a journalist is asking, how do you assess the Israeli government efforts so far to bring home the bodies of hostages who were killed in Gaza? And much of the public focus has been on the living hostages. In your view, has the issue of those who were killed and those whose bodies are still held in Gaza received enough attention? I think you answered the first one while. Okay, go ahead.
The Israeli government in general, I'm not going to limit it just for this phase, I'm going to get it. But if I look at everything that's happened since the 7th of October, they're getting an F, and that's a high score. 44 hostages, including my father, were kidnapped alive that are being returned in bags. It's been more than 2 years and required really an extraordinary effort by the US administration, both of them, and President Trump, to kind of maybe put an end to it. When the war was still raging, it looks like the Israeli government prioritized war, prioritized political motives above the lives of the hostages. Now we're in a different situation. The war is over, not because President Trump stepped in and kind of made sure that the war is over. And so this argument with the government, whether we that is it the right price to pay, kind of, to end the war so we can get all the hostages back. That's what decided for us. In favor of the families, which was not the position we felt from the government. Now we're much more in sync. We're in phase with the government because it's easy. Now we're in a situation where we want the hostages, and the government is much like the government we're much more in phase. So there's no, we got the live hostages. The war is not happening now. And of course, the government is now kind of, with us. Again, I don't know if from the right reasons, they have their own calculus, but we definitely feel much more in sync with the government those days. But again, it doesn't change, they're getting an F.
Rotem, I know that we are running out of time. As we see in your sheet, we keep counting the days until all the hostages are back. If any journalists want follow-up questions or additional questions to Rotem, you can connect us and we can connect you directly with Rotem. Thank you everyone for your time, and thank you, Rotem, for being with us today. I know you have a busy schedule, and may your father's memory be a blessing, and may his remains return home soon.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.